Hi folks, Steven here. So this is going to be another Pokemon Go Community Day recap. This month, February 2021, was Roselia Community Day. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be bringing up a few things at the end, a little site business, I guess you could call it that. And that's going to be the gist of it. If you do have any comments about the Community Day or about the channel or the podcast or anything like that, please feel free to put those in there. Otherwise, I'm going to get started pretty quickly here. So as usual, I've got a slideshow. Alright, so first thing we always like to start off on these things is the weather. Now the weather, let's see, for the next week or so, we had a snowstorm last week, and then ever since then and through most of the way through this week, it's been bitterly cold, even by Wisconsin standards. Not the coldest ever, but definitely not warm. Alright, well let's look at last month. Last month on the 16th of February, last month on the 16th of January, we had, let's see, a high of 30, which is a little above average, low of 27, so very narrow range there. Now, I don't have the weather yet for today, since today was the actual Community Day, but the weather for yesterday was not all that different. Yesterday's weather, we had a high of 8 degrees, a low of -7, and by the way, those are both Fahrenheit. An average wind speed of 6.1 miles per hour. Based on what I've seen so far today was actually a little bit colder, at least in terms of the high temperature. All this data, as usual, from the National Weather Service. So, the choice of Pokemon for this one didn't match the weather around here. I'm not sure how it was in your neck of the woods. I know most of the upper Midwest was pretty cold. Alright, well, with that out of the way, yeah, speaking of things left over from last year, I guess, I'm still working on December Community Day. I did finish one of the 3 parts of Phase 2 of that. The seed out part I've actually made some progress on because actually some Nuzleaf appeared recently. There's been more dark Pokemon appearing recently, I think, in terms of the Team Rocket stuff. It ties in with some of that. Ghastly, have not seen one of those for a while. Don't know if I'll keep putting updates on this unless there's some major news there, because I know the last couple are going to be pretty difficult. Alright. But this Community Day, today's Community Day, was based on Roselia. Roselia, in case you didn't know, is that one, the grass Pokemon with flowers for hands, I guess. But sort of the usual stuff, more of them appear than usual. I got the tickets and quarter hatch distance, which I wasn't able to make too much use of. Now, since this is a stone-based evolution, they did give you an opportunity, even if you didn't do the special research, to get some Sinnoh stones, which is really nice. They've done that in previous times. They didn't do it last month because there's no trading. Well, if you trade them a joke, that's all different. But you get the idea there. So even if you didn't do the special paid event, you do get some opportunities there. So yeah, to be honest, not a super common Pokemon, but one I've definitely run into. Other stuff going on in Pokemon Go at this time, we have the Team Go Rocket Celebration, which ends, I guess it must have ended now already, probably, or very shortly from now. I did complete the first couple tasks on there, but didn't get enough time to get a bunch of other Team Rocket grunts done there. Let's see, we got the Johto Celebration event, which ends, I guess, tomorrow. And catch more Shadow Pokemon, so that kind of ties into the Team Rocket thing. And Team Rocket leaders, you can earn a bunch of stuff there. So some time still to work on that if you are still doing that. As far as the event, it's pretty much the usual stuff. It's a 99-cent in-app purchase, and it runs the usual time and stuff, so didn't have any trouble with this one. I've had a little bit of extra space in my inventory. So actually, they've often have that Ultra Ball special, and I've often not been able to make use of it just because I've had too many items, because you need to have like the full 30 free in there. I think there's a little bit of fuzzification too, or something like that, where like if you have like exactly 30 less, sometimes it doesn't work. But in any case, I was able to make use of that. I didn't bother with the community box, but I do recommend this bonus box, which I think is still available. For 1 Pokecoin, excuse me, you get a rocket radar, 20 Pokeballs, and a remote raid pass. So pretty good deal there, actually, if you can still get in and get that. Strongly recommend it. Especially the remote raid passes certainly come in handy when you when it's this cold out here. Alright, so as usual, we have a little story segment that comes here from Professor Willow. Let's see. It sort of explains that, yes, they look pretty, but they have a vicious poison on the horns on their head, and also the flowers have some stuff in there too, I guess. But you see the usual tasks here. We have to power Pokemon, catch some Roselia, and make some nice throws. Talk more about those nice throws and whatnot later. But now we do the regular versus shiny comparison. Roselia is kind of one of the more interesting ones, to be honest. So the normal one has, let's see, well, it's obviously backwards, so its right hand is a red rose, its left hand is a blue rose. The shiny version, its right hand is a blue, slightly deeper, maybe a little hint of purple in there. And then its left hand is a black rose, it looks like, which is pretty neat. I guess I'll share a little bit about my family here. Every year or so, there would be a competition at a place here in Madison called the Old Brook Botanical Gardens, and my mom would usually bring some of her roses in to compete there. Hopefully she's done that recently, unfortunately. But she did used to do that, and so I have not a ton of experience with roses, but as far as Roselia, when I first encountered it in Generation 3, I caught one and I named it Gardenia, which was really weird when a couple years later we got the Gen 4 games and the grass Pokemon gym leader is called Gardenia. I don't think Nintendo is spying on me, but that was a weird coincidence. I think I still have that Pokemon somewhere in like Battle or Evolution or something like that, so when we get to doing a live stream based on that, I'll try and show you that one, but very coincidental. Otherwise, the green parts of it are also a slightly different hue, but I do kind of like the touch there. Alright, we get to our second phase here. Let's see. This is where it mentions Badoo, and so we've been seeing more of these. You know, remember last year we saw the Electabuzz and Magmar evolutions, which are also Generation 4 evolutions. And it mentions the baby form of it, which is the Badoo. And kind of unfortunately, I did have some already, so I didn't need it to get a new Pokemon bonus, but it would have been nice if it just spawned occasionally there. I must have gotten it hatched from an egg or something, because I don't know if it actually spawns normally. Alright. One thing it mentions here I wanted to call out is that it's blooms when warmed by the sun. And I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity. You may remember back in the Electivire Community Day from November of last year, I suggested that they want to shake these things up and do something that's not too difficult but appropriate. They could have you charge your phone for a little bit to complete one of the tasks. Not the most exciting thing ever, but would freshen things up. You're going to notice the tasks are pretty standard. For this one, I thought, you know, since the game already has access to your camera, so there must be some way it can use that to like measure light or something like that. You know, they'd have to figure out how to do it, but it'd be neat if you had to like get a certain amount of light. And I would expect that, you know, even if you had to put it like under a lamp somewhere or something like that, that would be enough. It would just be like faster if you went outside during the daylight and stuff like that. So that's kind of an idea there. Otherwise, the task's pretty similar. It does use the Pinette Berry, since which is pretty common for some of the other stuff like the Magikarp Community Day and the Electabuzz and Magmar Community Days also have that to sort of remind you, hey, you can get more stuff catching more of those candies for that Pokemon by using a Pinette Berry when you're catching it. So we got that done. Now, in between all of this, there were a couple raids I did, both of them remote, but the experience boost is always nice. So yeah, there's this Alolan Meowth. Now remember, there's that Team Go Rocket, or it's either that or the Johto thing, wants you to catch dark Pokemon. So this is actually helpful there, even though I had completed that task. So, won't say I was super excited for it, but I did go through with it. 3,500 experience is not nothing. And got it there. Now, nothing against women. I am a little disappointed it is female, but that's only because I keep wanting to get a male Alolan Meowth so I can nickname it Nermal. I'm a big fan of the Garfield franchise, so in case you didn't know, Nermal is actually a male character, even though in the old Garfield and Friends cartoon, all due respect to, I think, Desiree Goyette does the character's voice, it is a male character. But I've always wanted to kind of make that joke. I'm sure I'm not the first person to come up with that connection. But kind of have always wanted to do that there. Alright, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Let's see. Here's another one from Professor Will. These are obviously all based on, like, Pokédex entries, but I find it funny. Spring water. Well, you won't find much of that around here today, that's for sure. Like I said, bitterly cold. I didn't go outside any more than I had to just to run some errands. But I do want to say on the right, you get the usual tasks here. You have to evolve into the final form, you have to transfer some Pokemon, and then you have to make 3 great curveball throws, which is never super easy. I've gotten better at it as time goes on, but Roselia has a certain, because it's a very short Pokemon, in fact, I think in the games it's actually extremely short. One of the shortest ones out there, probably. That actually kind of makes it very tricky, and I got 2 of the 3 great curveball throws on other Pokemon that were a little bit taller, I think, or a little bit easier. Not entirely sure. I know one was a Makuhita, which is definitely taller, and stuff like that, so not impossible, bit of a more challenge than usual. Let me know if you had any issues in that area. Alright, so I did have to evolve one of my Roselia. This is kind of the one I think. It doesn't have perfect in any of the 3 stats, but it's got pretty good. The rest I had, they might have had a perfect in one category, but weren't so great in the other one. So I did wind up evolving this. I actually, if you hadn't noticed, had a lot of Roselia candy even before this. It was just kind of a convenient excuse to finally evolve one, given that, Sinnoh stones don't grow on trees, although I have gotten a number from recent events. But yeah, Roserade. So, honestly, a pretty cool Pokemon out there. So, and that was new to my Pokédex. So, pretty good there, I guess. And of course, like all the Community Day Pokemon, this one has an exclusive move, and that is Weather Ball. Now, it says Fire there. I'm not sure exactly how that one works. I think Castform, I suppose, gets it normally. I don't know if this changes with the active weather, if this is going to change to an ice move the next time it snows around here, and stuff. It is interesting, it does mark down that it was caught during special research. Sometimes I dig out one of my older Pokemon that I already have of that species because that has better stats. But yeah, I think I really like Roserade's design. I think it's pretty cool. The eyes are neat. The bouquets on each arm is kind of a nice little extension. I think they did a good job with this one. And more Pokédex information here. This is kind of interesting about the poison in its right hand versus left hand, which is a neat little thing that they pulled out from one of the Pokédex entries from the games. And of course, when you do this, you get a bonus of the fully evolved Pokemon at the very end. So, neat stuff. So yeah, Roserade, pretty cool if you ask me. I just think it's a neat little Pokemon. I think it just appeals to my aesthetic sense in a certain way. Alright, let's do some overall thoughts on this community day. So let's see here. First of all, I do kind of wonder why it was brought in. I mean, I guess, yes, you give people, like, this is Valentine's Day is a week from today. And you do give folks like flowers, your significant other flowers on Valentine's Day, so maybe that was part of it, but I do wonder if this would be more thematically appropriate in March. Obviously that's sort of a northern hemisphere view, that spring comes in March and April and goes through May and technically early June. But I just thought that might have been more appropriate. Certainly the weather today did not help. I'm sure some of you closer to the equator, maybe that felt a little bit better, having it there. And the second one I have is could they do some light-based tasks? Because there was a lot of stuff here that talked about sunlight and stuff like that, and it would have been kind of nice if the some of the tasks were somehow, since they already have access to your camera, to do some of the stuff there. Just the thought. And then yes, curveballs on short Pokemon are tough. Like I said, I think I only got one on actual Roselia. The other two, I think one of them might have been Fennekin. I'm not 100% sure on that. But it does not make it easier. Usually, if you have the same Pokemon over and over and over again, you can kind of get right in the zone and you can get a couple of curveball throws like that. But not this time. It was pretty difficult. I think I always felt like I was hitting. It hit the Roselia a little too soon or something like that, and I just didn't have real good luck there, I guess. Like I said, there is skill to it. Alright, well, a couple more things to update on. So first off, we have a podcast episode that should be coming out soon, hopefully tonight if I can write up the script and record it and stuff like that. But this is going to be Anna and I's Pokemon Stadium 2 discussion. We recorded this, I guess, back in it was either August or September. I forget exactly when. We recorded it then. And it's finally ready to go out onto the feed. Now, you may remember, by the way, you don't have to wait until these come on the podcast feed. If you want the nice polished version, yes, you'll get it there. But if you just want to hear our most recent discussions, last weekend we recorded Pokemon Coliseum for the GameCube. So that was fairly recent. If you want to hear that, like I said, it's not the most polished. It's got all of our little mistakes and stuff, but that live stream is totally available. But this episode is going to be on Pokemon Stadium 2, so the gold and silver one that is definitely not as well known as the original Western Stadium, I should say. That's a whole deal. But expect that within the next day or so. And then I have some Pokecaster Network updates. This is a network that my podcast is a part of. I always like to share what's going on there. Let's see. First of all, there's a couple new podcasts on that. Looks like Pokemon Champions, WWO Pokemon, and MD80SE. Unfortunately, can't tell you off the top of my head what they are, but it says we're at 14 shows, and then a couple days later, it's 15 shows. So I don't know if he miscounted or stuff like that, but we are up to, on this network, 15 shows. I should say they miscounted. In any case, that's what's going on there, and that's kind of about what I've got there. So yeah, exit out of that. Okay, let's see here. There we are. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of things at the moment, is that we've got the new episode coming up soon, and some other stuff I'm working on. I'm always looking to get new interviews and stuff like that, but I guess until we see each other again. All right, folks, thanks.